You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome to the program, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Okay, so I'm reading Ron DeSantis' new book, The Courage to Be Free, and the more I read it, the more disappointed I get in Ron DeSantis. Ron DeSantis, now I talked on Friday's show about how he talked about this wonderful meeting he had with H.W. Bush when he was captain of the Yale baseball team, and Bush was captain of the Yale baseball team back in the 40s and how, all that. But on page 78 is when he really throws Trump under the bus, discounts Trump's role and importance in his life and becoming governor. I'm going to read it to you in a moment. But, my first thought is Ron DeSantis is betraying Trump. To betray Trump, he would have to have been with Trump. And I'm really starting to question whether Ron DeSantis was ever with Donald Trump. And this book, it shows just that. Now, Ron DeSantis is governor because of Donald Trump. He was losing. He was not well known. Yeah. I knew who he was a little bit. He was in the House of Representatives, and of course, he was had a House district in Florida. And I saw him on Fox News sometimes. So I knew who he was, but he was not well known in Florida, and he was running against someone who was well known in Florida. And he was losing. He went to Trump, asked for his endorsement. Trump not only endorsed Ron DeSantis, it was in Trump's first term. He campaigned and rallied for Ron DeSantis too. And Ron DeSantis was going to lose his primary.
Yeah. He would not have won without Trump.
And he was about to lose his primary when President Trump endorsed him. And that's why he's governor. Everybody knows this, right? Well, that's not how it plays out in his book. On page 78 of Ron DeSantis's book, okay, he writes, well, let me read the last paragraph of page 77, okay, because he mentions Trump there. This is on page 77. As the years wore on, it became clear that the whole Russia saga, he talks a lot about how the Russia stuff was fake, okay? As the years wore on, it became clear that the whole Russia saga was a manufactured scandal, right? Representing a brazen attempt by the D.C. swamp to kneecap the Trump presidency even before his inauguration. Okay, so that sounds good, right? That sounds good. Sensationalized on a daily basis by the media to generate clicks, Russiagate. But most Republican elected officials did not yet see it that way at the time. I was one of only a few who called it right from the beginning, and President Trump respected those who would go on TV and fight back against the collusion narrative. Okay, so now this is page 78. In late 2017, I asked the president if he would be willing to send out a tweet touting me as a good candidate for Florida governor. So then he skips down. He says, about a week later, a Trump tweet appeared. Congressman Ron DeSantis is a brilliant young leader, Yale and then Harvard Law, who would make a great governor of Florida. He loves our country and is a true fighter. That's it. The rest of it is about how Fox helped him. Fox and Friends. He talked about his debate and how Fox gave good coverage of the debate and Fox helped him and everything else. That's all he mentions. The only bit of Trump
so far.
The next part is you get the next time. The final result was a 20% blowout that no political procrastinator would have predicted just a few months before. He won. So Trump's whole role in helping him is this
diminished.
This tweet.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it.
Maybe his book title, Courage to Be Free, means for him to be free of Trump. He's the courage to be free of Trump.
Well, yeah. And, on the radio tomorrow, I'm going to talk about this tweet and take calls on it. So those of you guys who listen to me on the radio, you can call me live on the air and we'll talk about it. But, Trump gave this speech at CPAC, which I was shocked that Fox News carried the speech.
That is shocking.
I've seen it maybe 4 or 5 times because I caught it last night on the audio. I was out last night and I couldn't watch it, so I listened to it. So I listened to it on the car. I had a long drive. I went out of town. Our daughter was in town, and we went out of town last night. We were in the car and had a long drive, and I heard the whole speech in the car, and I was listening to it on Fox. I was going to watch it on Right Side Broadcasting or something, and I said, well, let me see if Fox is going to carry it, and shocker, they had it. So I listened to it on the radio to Fox on the car ride home last night, and it was brilliant. And then this morning, there was someone on YouTube. They're still doing it as of the time we're speaking. They've been running the speech over and over again in a continuous loop, and I've had it on all day. I watched it at least 5 times. I've watched the speech, and I got to tell you, I think that was Trump's best speech that he's ever given, the CPAC speech.
Full of a lot of good stuff, for sure. He looks good, too. He looks good.
Yeah. And there was a lot of new stuff in there that he had never talked about. And I got to tell you this.
Of course, the media's trying to downplay it, that there were empty seats and it was boring. No, I saw pictures from there. It was packed. The media always says his venues are empty. They love to say that. That's their go-to.
Maybe somebody had to go pee.
They love to downplay everything he does. Yeah. And they said it was lackluster and low energy, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, no.
And all this stuff.
Nothing could be further from the truth.
But then when he gets up there and he's fired up, then they say he needs to calm down. I mean, he's never going to win. Whatever he does, it's going to be bad. And
not the presidency. He's never going to win with the media.
Right, exactly, with the media. But one thing he said, well, we said many things, but one thing he said that really resonated with me, and I want to take the opportunity to say that I'm sorry to President Trump, because when he threw Ron DeSantis under the bus, I got very upset with him for a while, and it really clouded my judgment of him. And I apologize, because you were right all along. He is a rhino, deep state. He used him to get elected. I know that now after you reading
DeSantis.
this book. And I like DeSantis as a governor, okay? But he used Trump. He was never with Trump. He was never MAGA. He used Trump to get elected. And I think one thing Trump said that really resonated with me was when he was talking about the people in D.C. in the swamp. And he said that, I'm a fighter and they will never, he said something effective, they will never own me. They will never tell me what to do, and they will never be able to control me. And he's really the one person in Washington that truly is uncontrollable. And this is why they hate him so much, because he doesn't play their little games. And he talked about when he went to a NATO meeting when he was president, and he said, the presidents will go up and make a nice speech, and then they leave. And he said, I was there and I talked to the leaders and I said, how much are you paying? I looked, I saw they weren't paying anything. And I demanded the money. And I told them, if they don't pay, we're not going to help them. He said, these other presidents never did that. They would go get their photo op and then go back home, have a nice little vacation. They're figureheads. He actually did his job. He actually upset the apple cart with this globalization that's going on. And that's why they don't like him. And I'm very disappointed. So I apologize, President Trump. I'm very disappointed in Ron DeSantis. But I'm very happy that in the CPAC poll, Trump creamed him 60 to 20%. I don't know what happened since the last poll, because they were very close. But I think I think people are waking up. Maybe we have something to do with it. I don't know. But I think people are shocked. And I'm sure DeSantis is shocked too. At the difference, the gap. Now, one thing they did do with that poll is they didn't have as many people in it. They had 4 people.
I'm glad.
Trump. That's what they need to do a poll with just Trump and DeSantis. But they had Nikki Haley, who had 3%, and some other guy I've never heard of. That's it. They didn't have like 10 people. And I think that helped widen the gap. But I really want to start seeing some polls with Trump and DeSantis only. And let's see. And I think you'll see just as big a split.
DeSantis didn't go to CPAC, and
that was a mistake.
That speech of Trump's, I think it was his best speech ever by far, and he was very specific about what's going on, brought hope back to the country.
He was.
But it really the Trump speech at CPAC shows what a lightweight Ron DeSantis is.
It does.
And everybody else is. And what's happened here with Trump, and I'm wondering, the speech was so good, I'm wondering if Fox is going to continue to carry his speeches or not, because what's happened to a lot of people, their opinion of Trump, even though they don't realize it, their opinions of Trump have been formed by this fake narrative that the fake media, Fox News, have been portraying of Trump, that people are tired of him, he's old, we need this new generation. First off, this new generation are all people that are backed by Bush, okay, and all that crew of people. So they're not a new generation. They have these old-time handlers from the establishment behind them. But Ron DeSantis, Nikki Haley, there's no one that looks like a credible Republican candidate when you see Trump at CPAC last night. And if that's how his campaign is going to be, it's going to be a home run. And if Ron DeSantis had any sense at all, he would look at that speech last night and say, you know what? You know what? I'd better not run. I'm not in his league, and make a decision to announce that he's not going to run.
If he announced he's running, I would seriously question his judgment.
Oh, yeah.
And I would seriously question his ability to gauge things. When you have a 40-point cap, okay, that's not good. And there's nobody else that can endorse DeSantis to put him over the top. Okay, like he used Trump to put him over the top. There's nobody there that's going to do that this time. It's Trump. There's nobody else that can put him over the top to beat Trump. It's Trump, and that's it. I think what DeSantis should do, but clearly from reading the book and from his behavior, and I still think the title Courage to be Free is meaning to be free from Trump.
Yeah.
Clearly, he is in with the deep state, which is what people have said for months, and I didn't want to believe it, but clearly it's true, and it's been going on for decades, or since college, so 15, 20 years? He's probably been with them the whole time. And what he should do is come out and say, I'm not running, I support Trump, and like you said, and I will help him anyway. I endorse him. I think he needs to run again, and I think he is what the country needs. He needs to come out and say that now. That is the only thing that will save his political future, because I think all these polls show how loyal people are to Trump. And I think the media and the liberals are just scratching their head. They don't understand how he has maintained the support after everything. He said today, they've indicted me twice, all these investigations. He said they wanted my taxes forever. They got him. You haven't heard anything about it because they're perfect. He said all this stuff they get on me and nothing sticks. Nothing's happening because I do everything above board. I'm not a crook like them. And think about it. And I don't understand people who hate Trump can't look at themselves or look at the situation and be like, you know what? Maybe the guy is a good guy. I mean, they haven't gotten him on anything.
Well, and another thing about Trump and his speech last night, I couldn't go over all the points he made. There's so many, but
yeah, it was good.
But he's very specific. He says he has a 4-year plan for his whole second term to get us out of being dependent on manufacturing from China.
Yeah,
he's going to make them pay for everything that happened during COVID. He said he's got a plan to end the war in Ukraine. He's got a whole list of things that are all new.
Yep.
Finish the wall, of course. But he's got a whole list of things that are all new that are addressing the things that we're dealing with now. Now, I want to play this clip. Laura Loomer found a clip of Ron DeSantis during the lockdowns and shutdowns. And I'd forgotten about this. And then when I saw the video, I remember watching this press conference. You know, we watched his press conferences because we're in Florida and he's our governor. Yep. And when Governor DeSantis would have press conferences during COVID, we'd watch them. And I'd forgotten about this. And he's talking about, well, let me just play it. It explains itself. Gotta hit the button. There we go.
Pub or restaurant, if they're operating at 55%, okay, give them a warning. Tell them, hey, 50. But if you go in and it's just like mayhem, like Dance Party USA, and it's packed to the rafters, that's just cut and dry. And that's not just an innocent mistake. So I told him, no tolerance for that. Just suspend the license.
Wow. So he's talking about suspending the license of restaurants that have too many people in them during COVID.
When was that?
This was during the COVID lockdown. So our recollection that we didn't have lockdowns and shutdowns is not a correct recollection, because here he is.
Yeah, I should have listened to you all along. Trust Trump.
Always trust
And again,
Trump.
I apologize to President Trump if you ever listened to this show. I was wrong. And I didn't want to believe these bad things about DeSantis, because he is a great governor. And I do appreciate him. But I don't like things that are coming to light.
No.
You know, the problem with the Bushes are several. And the problem I have with him having such an affinity for their family is the Bush family, and believe me, the father and the son had everything to do with this, even though the father was no longer in office. They started another Vietnam. They started a war we did not need to get into for no reason other than pure ego and money. It killed and maimed thousands of people. I was never for the war, ever. From day one, I said, this doesn't make sense to me. We were lied to. We were misled. And the Congress and the Senate voted on this. All the politicians got on board, which is amazing to me, for this war. And all the repercussions that happened after it. And if he loves the Bushes so much, that tells me, and he's a veteran, DeSantis, that tells me that he probably was pro-war, pro-Iraq war. And the second time. And I don't know if he would be the kind of guy that would keep us out of war anymore. And that's the kind of person I want. I am tired of fighting other people's battles. This whole situation in the Ukraine could have been prevented. And the way it would be prevented is Biden would have said, look, it's not our business. This is a civil war, and we're staying out of it. Period. Yeah. End of discussion.
Yeah.
And if we stayed out of it, NATO would have stayed out of it. But no, they had to get involved. It's been a big money racket for everybody around. And I promise you, if Trump is reelected, he will end that war within 3 months. If the war is going on at that time, he will end that war very quickly. It'll be the first thing he does.
So Mike Lindell, who was at CPAC and Trump gave him a shout out during his speech. Mike Lindell and MyPillow have put together our own MyPillow website with my favorites on it.
Yes.
That I'm always talking about. And I was surprised that they did this. So if you're listening to the podcast on a podcast platform, our link to our very own MyPillow website that Mike Lindell gave us with my favorites will be in the description. On YouTube, if you're listening on YouTube, the link will be in the description on the YouTube video. And if you're watching on the live premiere on YouTube, the link will be pinned in the chat room, okay? And they have all of my favorites. So I want to talk just about a couple of them. Number one, the MyPillow 2.0 is buy one, get one free with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. And this is the MyPillow with the cooling technology. And also, oh man, they got all my favorites. You know, they know from listening to me do the messages on the show, they know what my favorites are, and they put them all here. After the MyPillow 2.0, the next must-have, in my opinion, from MyPillow is the MyPillow 3-inch mattress topper, which is yeah. Now the MyPillow 3-inch mattress topper is 40% off when you use our promo code Kane, Kane. And you know, when I was a kid growing up, mattresses were two-sided, so you'd have your mattress, it'd get old, you'd flip it over. And the flip side was like a brand new mattress. Well, mattress companies wised up to that. You can't do that anymore, right? They got a racket going. So if you think you need a new mattress, you don't. Kathy and I, we've been sleeping on our 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper. It will be 2 years next month.
Yeah, and it's still just like it came out of the box.
It is.
It really is.
Yeah, and what it does, the MyPillow 3-inch mattress topper turns your whole mattress into one big MyPillow. And I'm sure you guys have seen Mike Lindell with the television commercial show how it gets your pressure points. So you don't wake up in the morning with aches and pains. Yeah. You wake up in the morning feeling great, and you hop out of bed and you get a well-rested night's sleep.
I'll say this. I have osteoarthritis. I was just diagnosed with it a couple months ago. It's I had a scan because I was having severe back issues when I would sit down, and I had a CT scan, and the diagnosis, severe osteoarthritis. I'm only 52. That's not good. And I got to tell you, during the day, if I sit, you can just ask Brian, in certain chairs, if I sit too long, I start feeling a lot of pain in my lower back. It's very debilitating, and sometimes I'm in tears. I will go to the bed and lay down on the MyPillow mattress topper, and within like an hour, half an hour, I start to feel a lot better. And when I go to bed at night, I can almost instantly feel that relief, and I wake up every morning pain-free. It's not the bed that's causing my pain. The bed is helping my pain. It relaxes my body where those muscles can relax, and it takes that pressure. And I really have no problem with pain when I'm sleeping at all. But it's just when I'm walking around during the day or sitting in particular on hard chairs, it really bothers me. But when I lay down on that mattress topper, I'm telling you, I wake up, I feel it pretty quickly, but I wake up pain-free. It's a relief to the body. And a lot of our listeners have pain, back pain. They tell me, and I'm telling you, it makes a huge difference. From somebody who is experiencing it herself, I'm telling you, it makes a huge, huge difference.
Absolutely. So it's our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, 40% off the MyPillow 3-inch mattress topper. Our specialty MyPillow website is listed in the description on whatever platform you're listening to us on. And if you're watching on YouTube for the live premiere, I have pinned our own MyPillow website link to the chat. And also, Mike Lindell is giving us, our listeners, if you order $150 worth of merchandise, free shipping. So free shipping on orders $150 or more. Remember, it's promo code Kane, Kane. We'll be right back.
Have you ever said to yourself, I can't work and deal with home? Or, that manager's crazy, I'm not doing that. How about this one? These late hours are so stressful. Does anyone else's spouse do this? If you've had any of these thoughts, yep, we hear you. Tune into the Coffee with Christopher podcast on Spotify. Host Christopher Gentry and his guest open up about their unique experiences with work and in life and share the lessons they've learned along the way. Each episode feels like a heart-to-heart conversation, over coffee, of course. If you're ready to connect with the community of people sharing compelling stories, join Coffee with Christopher on Spotify and discover the power of sharing your story. Looking for a one-stop shop for both men and women's clothing? Look no further than allfrommary.etsy.com. That's Mary, M-E-R-Y. allfrommary.etsy.com. Have original and creative designs and unisex sizing. There's something for everyone and for every occasion, including Mother's Day, retro and vintage styles, girl power, nature, animals, and that's just the beginning. The good news keeps coming. Right now, allfrommary.etsy.com is offering a fantastic deal with 15% off all merchandise. Don't miss out on this amazing opportunity to snag some unique and stylish clothing at a great price. So why wait? Head over to allfrommary.etsy.com. That's Mary, M-E-R-Y, for all your clothing needs. allfrommary.etsy.com. Are you looking for a natural and holistic approach to your health and wellness? Look no further than Nomad Nutrition, online at nomadnutrition.co.uk. Your one-stop shop for clean, real, and organic herb-based supplements. Say goodbye to fillers and synthetic chemicals. Supplements from Nomad Nutrition contain 100% organic, natural ingredients. All supplements from Nomad Nutrition are carefully crafted to maximize their many health benefits, including better sleep, increased stress resilience, better cardiovascular health, and sharper mental focus. If you're ready to take charge of your health with the power of naturally sourced and holistic herbs and food supplements, now's your chance. Find a healthier you with Nomad Nutrition. Visit nomadnutrition.co.uk to shop right now. nomadnutrition.co.uk.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. All right, lots of things going on. You know, Jill Biden gave an interview today, and I want to play a clip of it. She got asked a question she didn't really like, and it's a question about Nikki Haley saying that, that politicians need to take these mental health exams, And the reporter that interviewed Joe Biden that asked her this, I've never seen before. She looks like she's about 23 years old. And I think they sent her out to do it because nobody else at CNN, because they're all Democrats over there, wanted to get burned by the Bidens for asking this tough question. So they sent this young girl to do it. But listen to this. This is Jill Biden.
Nikki Haley, one of the Republican candidates, is calling for mental competency tests for those politicians over the age of 75. What do you think about that?
Ridiculous.
Would your husband ever take one of those?
I mean, we would never even discuss something like that.
She's got to know more than anyone how far gone he is, because she gets to see him, in all this bad times.
Get to see a little nastiness.
You hear her tone?
Jill Biden. Let me tell you something. I've seen her interact with her husband, shuffling him around, telling him to go here, go there, moving his shoulders this way, that way. She hates her husband. Mm-hmm. She knows he's checked out. She can't stand him. She's got to live with this guy. Believe me, maybe she hasn't discussed it with Joe, but she's discussed it with a lot of other people. I can tell you that. The only reason, that she's even supporting him, I guess, is because he's president, and I think, wants to keep him in there so she can avoid being stuck with him, and with nothing else to do. But
yeah, she had a real nasty streak in her there. I mean, Okay, now there is a massive story that came out over the weekend about Vinman. And I saw this. Yeah, I'm going to read this story out of Breitbart. I mean, this guy, I can't believe it. Listen to this. Let's just read it and then we'll go through it. This is in Breitbart. Retired Army Lieutenant Colonel Alexander Vinman on Friday appeared to confirm a report that said he is pitching a defense contract to the Ukrainian government to the tune of $12 million, which would likely come from U.S. taxpayers. And the contract would be to operate and repair military equipment being used in the war. Thanks for the advertisement. I'm trying to get logistics in place to help Ukraine win the war and secure America, tweeted Vinman. That's very strange. On Thursday, Human Events' Libby Emmons and Jack Posobiec reported that it obtained documents showing that in August 2022, Vinman, operating as CEO of Trident Support. Remember I told you guys, whenever you see these retired military people as pundits talking about we need to go to war, we need to do this, they always have these jobs with companies, Vinman operating as, so he's CEO of a company now. Yeah. Vinman operating as CEO of Trident Support, and that's not a bubblegum company, gave a presentation to Ukraine on a Ukraine Weapons System Sustainment Center to help Ukraine address problems with repairing and maintaining the equipment that is poured into the Ukraine from the West since the Russian invasion. Vinman proposed to Ukraine an initial funding tab of $12 million to act as a middleman between NATO weapons and Ukrainian forces, according to Human Events. Vinman's company would teach Ukrainian forces how to operate and repair the equipment. Trainers would be highly experienced former soldiers or contractors in Iraq and or Afghanistan. And there's all kinds of other deals. According to the presentation slides, Vinman's brother is the president of Trident International LLC. Oh, his brother left the service too. And is
his
listed,
twin brother.
Yeah, and is listed as a point of contact for the scheme. And remember, Vinman is an immigrant from Ukraine. Yeah. Okay. That's what I tell you guys. That any retired military person that you ever see on television using their military expertise to tell you that we should be in this war are all running some company, or they're on the payroll of a company, or they're on the board of directors of a company. They all have a vested interest. I saw a guy I never heard of, a retired general. He was a brigadier general, and he was on Fox telling us we had to go. And I just looked him up because I'm like, oh, who's this guy? I haven't seen him before. And he works for a company. He's an executive for a company that sells transmissions to the military. Well, there's a lot of money in parts.
It's incredible. Now we know another reason they wanted Trump out of office so they could make this little war happen. It wouldn't have happened with Trump. They needed to get him out of office so they could make this war happen. I think it was planned for a while.
Yeah, Vinman, it's hard to believe Vinman and his Vinman, what he did, he should have been court-martialed. He should be in a military prison.
I agree. There's this article, this Vivek Ramaswamy, I hope I said his name right. He's very smart. He's on Fox all the time. He's running for president, and of course he's not going to win, but he's saying some very important things. Very smart guy. And I put an article in your Facebook group, Brian Craig Show on Facebook. Please join. We have over 3,000 members now. It's growing very quickly. And this is a very good article you should read. And he wrote it. He said there's 3 secular religions, race, sex, and climate, that have put the United States in a chokehold today. He said this was in his CPAC speech. The first theme is this. I want to watch his speech now. Woke racial religion. That someone's identity is based on skin color. That if you're black, you're inherently disadvantaged. If you're white, you're inherently privileged. That your race determines who you are and what you can achieve in life. This has created a new culture of fear in America, and says the sex of the person you are attracted to has to be hardwired on the day you were born. But your own biological sex is completely fluid over the course of your lifetime. It makes no sense unless it's a religion. And then he goes on to so he says the 3 religions of the secular world are race, sex, and climate change. And he said climate religion says that we have to fight carbon emissions at all costs in the United States while we shift those same carbon emissions to places like China, blah, blah, blah. So what he said is, in another article I read of his, this explains, because I've always tried to figure out what is the push for climate. I've always known it's about power and money. But he said the main reason for this climate push has been to strengthen China and to take away our power.
But we reduce our output, they increase theirs.
You think they're following this global climate stuff?
No.
They don't even use nuclear power over there, he says, for industry, or we have our power plant's a nuclear power plant, Turkey Point, that gives us our electricity here in Florida. And he said that's the cleanest power, the cleanest you can have as far as carbon, because there is no carbon. But the whole thing with climate change, it's not real. And he said it's a religion to these people, and it's fake. He said they get very rich off of it, and the whole purpose is to get China to be stronger, have more output, and Russia selling more gas, and to weaken us. That is the whole reason behind it. These politicians are doing China's bidding, and it's been going on, I think, longer than we realize. I don't think it just started in the last decade. I think it's been going on maybe after Nixon opened up China. I think it's been going on since Clinton with NAFTA, Bush. I mean, all these people have sold their soul to China. They give them lots of money, access. They all make money off these things. And so that's the whole reasoning, which makes sense to me, because I know there's different theories. It's always about money. He said it's about money and power over people, making people feel bad and making us regress and not produce. But meanwhile, China's producing like crazy and getting stronger, and we're getting weaker.
Well, this is okay. There's 2 different types.
So read that article in the Facebook.
There's 2 different types of Democrats. Okay, there's the officials that are corrupt like Biden, and then there are the voters. To the Democrat liberal voters, everything liberalism it's a religion to them. It's a cult. Sure. To the politicians, you see this with Biden. These Democrat, and I know there's some Republicans like McConnell do this too, but these Democrat politicians like Biden, they're in the business of selling the only thing they can sell. That's selling America out. Right. They sell America out, and they sell America out because that's all they got to sell, and they get paid for doing it. And
I think that's why they go into politics. They don't go to help America. They go to throw us under the bus.
They go there, and they're all multimillionaires after they're there for a few years, and that's how they make their money. That's all they have to sell is America out. And that's why they hate Trump, because they hate Trump for a lot of reasons. But one of the major reasons is he stops that racket that they've got going on. But, this guy that you're talking about, I'm a Vivek. I don't know, Fox is pushing him too hard, like he's so important, such a big deal, and that makes me nervous.
He
Maybe
doesn't have a chance in hell, but he's very smart. And I've read a few articles, and I'm going to watch his CPAC speech, but I've seen him speak, and I think he knows he's not going to win, but he's making a name for himself, and he's on Fox a lot, and everything he says is true. It makes sense, and I think it's important to listen to him because he's exposing a lot of what's really going on, and I think it's good that he's getting a lot of attention on Fox. But you had mentioned that they carried Trump's speech on Fox, which is incredible. I want to know if anybody in the audience watched it on television. Did they only carry it on the radio, or was it on TV?
No. I was listening to Fox News Channel,
to the Fox streaming
on the satellite radio.
I wonder what that's about. Why do you think all of a sudden maybe they've realized he's going to be the nominee? It's going to happen.
It could be they're afraid of the ratings because they get creamed when they don't care. Now, East Palestine is out of the news now, which is really a shame, and it shouldn't be. And there's a new story today. Listen to this. The chemicals released in East Palestine are a World War I choking agent.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Why are they transporting that
and it says here, and let me tell you, the Daily Mail's out of the UK. They know a lot about this because they lost so many in World War I. There's a cancer-causing vinyl chloride.
Oh, my gosh.
Was also one of the 6 chemicals on board the trains, which derailed on February 3rd. Can you believe it's been that long? It's been over a month.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, they're calling this America's Chernobyl, and there's a big cover-up on it. And I don't know why we have trains going around with these World War I choking agents on them.
That's blew my mind when I read that. Why the hell is that on this train?
Why is that on any train?
Town? And you know what? We never would have known that if this didn't happen. This probably has been going on for a long time.
Yeah.
God, what else are they transporting on these trains?
Know.
I mean, seriously.
And they're telling us that oil pipelines are dangerous?
I mean,
look what they're transporting on rail.
Yeah. I mean, why would they need to transport a choking agent used in World War I that's more than 100 years ago?
I'm sure it has some application for something they would tell us.
Like what?
But nothing.
What?
There's no reason for something like
Other
that
than
to be transported on rail in this country.
Those poor people.
If they needed to make a product, it should be manufactured at the site where it's going to be used and not transported. And, those of you out there that think that there's a major racial division in this country against minorities, the discrimination in this country is against poor people. And this town in East Palestine, look at the mayor. The mayor, you never see him in a suit or anything. These are not wealthy people.
No matter what your color.
They're working class people. So the discrimination in this country that's going on today and it's been this way for a long time, are against low income and poor people.
Yeah, because if that happened like in the middle of Manhattan or somewhere where, Palm Beach or some, there's trains that go through Palm Beach close to the rich people. If that happened in a more affluent, more in a busier area, I think things would be much quicker. But I've said Biden will not go there because he's afraid of getting sick.
Yeah.
And, he should be afraid because it's dangerous.
Yeah.
That is why he is not going there. And Buttigieg only went there because Trump went, and I think Biden told him he had to go. He probably said, you got to go. Because believe me, he wouldn't have gone if Trump hadn't gone. And he was afraid to go because of getting sick. How do you think these people feel that live there? Nobody is helping them.
It's frightening.
It's awful. I feel so bad for these people. And if you live there, you've got to leave. They're not going to help you. You got to get out of there, or you're not going to do well. And your kids are going to be sick. And it's not a good place to be, unfortunately. But you're right. This is a rural part of the country. Mm-hmm. A lot of people sit around and wait for the government to come and help them. And 9 times out of 10, that's not going to happen.
No.
You pay all this money to the government in taxes. And then, we have the police and the fire department. I understand that. But when there's a big crisis like this and they're sending off billions of dollars to another country to fight a war, and they won't even go and put some money to help these people and help them how many families could they have relocated with $10 billion and set them up with a new home, a new job, and said, you know what, they just don't take care of American citizens. That's the problem.
You look at these people in East Palestine, they've lost everything. If they own a business, it's worth nothing. If they own a home,
nobody's going to buy a home there.
No, it's done. and here we have illegals illegally entering the country that are being put up in New York City hotels.
That's crazy. I forgot about that.
And our Americans in East Palestine are being poisoned by World War I choking agents, and only President Trump has gone there. Now I want to thank.
Well, it's because liberals have total disdain for America and American citizens. They hate us. They hate this country. And they hate the people that live in it.
Now, I want to take a moment to thank all of our Patreon supporters. Thank you so much for your support. Your support means a lot, and it does help us out a lot. Yes. And, if you become a Patreon supporter, there are perks and benefits to it. One of them is you get commercial-free editions of all of the podcast episodes, okay? So that's something that only Patreon supporters have access to. And the way that works, when we finish a podcast episode, I upload right on our Patreon page the commercial-free edition. You have access to that. And also, our top Patreon supporters get a live on-air thank you shout-out on every podcast episode. So the names you will hear now are our top Patreon supporters. I want to thank Andrew and Connie, Christine, ETW, Chuck, Pamela, Rick, Nick, Wesley, Macho, Rome, Wisconsin, Mike P., Paulette, Carlos, and Maria. These are our top Patreon supporters. Now, if you would like to become a Patreon supporter, there is a link in the episode description, and there's also a direct link on my website, briancraigshow.com. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, there's a lot more to talk about. We're going to hear from Marjorie Taylor Greene, who spoke at CPAC, and much more. Don't go anywhere.
The new book from author Jose Mauricio Mendoza, Golden Trump Statue, An Immigrant's Journey, is now available. Author Jose Mauricio Mendoza appreciates President Trump, his policies, and the United States. In this book, the author intends to share what he's learned being brought to this country as an undocumented immigrant as a baby and grew up to be a devoted American to his core. Golden Trump Statue illustrates the entire process of creating the Golden Trump Statue, iconic in its own right and nicknamed the Golden Calf. The Golden Trump Statue has appeared at Trump rallies, CPAC, and at the front gate of Donald Trump's home, Mar-a-Lago. It's been covered on CNN, Univision, Politico, The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, the BBC, Inside Edition, The Washington Post, and many other media outlets. Order your copy of Golden Trump Statue, An Immigrant's Story from author Jose Mauricio Mendoza. Available on Amazon, BarnesandNoble.com, and the author's website, josemauricio.net. If you're an e-commerce seller or aspiring to be one, you'll require assistance from professionals who have expertise in various areas like SMM marketing, digital marketing, SEO, graphic design, web development, and that's just the beginning. At eMars Pro, they employ effective tactics as well as strategies that most brands and retailers are not familiar with. The eMars Pro e-commerce digital marketing consultants will work with you based on the latest marketing trends, utilizing their high level of expertise to deliver results. With over 5 years in the industry, they've served over 100 clients and have a team of over 50 expert e-commerce consultants, handling account management for e-commerce marketing channels like Amazon, Walmart, and Shopify. Their success and growth rate stands at an impressive 99%, and they have a proven track record of effectively handling projects of any size and complexity. Partner with eMars Pro today and let them help you build and grow your e-commerce business. Visit their website, emarspro.com. That's EMARSPRO.com, or call them directly, 682-472-4939, 682-472-4939. Request a free e-commerce audit and schedule a free consultation call. EMARSPRO.com. Get started on your journey to success right now. Calling all NFT collectors. There's a hot new drop you won't want to miss. Optimus Force is a collection of limited edition NFTs living on the blockchain. Based on NFT comic books created with blockchain technology, Optimus Force is a game-changing NFT project. Holders of Optimus Force NFTs get exclusive access to rewards, staking, giveaways, and future token releases. Optimus Force is backed by a team ready to bring innovation and fun back into the NFT space by working working hard to create a flourishing and rewarding ecosystem for all Optimus Force NFT holders. Join the Optimus Force NFT ecosystem right now by visiting optimusforce.in and following Optimus Force on Twitter right now. optimusforce.in.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at briancraigshow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. Now, unfortunately, they moved CPAC from Orlando, Florida to D.C. I don't know why they did that.
Yeah, that stinks.
I was going to go. If they did it in Orlando, not only was I going to go, I was going to broadcast the radio show from there on Friday. We had talked about this quite some time ago, and then they decided to move it to Washington. And I would have also gone there and made a YouTube video and interviewed everyone.
Who wants to go there anyway?
Well, I mean, that's the swamp.
Safe?
Why would they have this in the swamp? But I don't like that Tulsi Gabbard is an invitee again. She spoke last year. She spoke this year. I don't like that at all.
She's really, I'm really unimpressed with her, I have to say.
Well, don't worry, Kathy. She's so impressed with herself. She makes up for your unimpressedness.
That's true.
Yeah.
There's nothing to her. She is really very, I can't think of the right word, but there's just nothing. There's nothing below the surface.
Vacuous.
There's nothing below the surface with her. It's all, I'm an immigrant, a product of immigrants. I'm brown. I'm a woman.
No, that's
vote
Nikki
for me.
Haley. That's Nikki Haley.
Oh, who are you talking about?
Tulsi
Gabbard.
Gabbard.
She's the same deal too.
Tulsi Gabbard.
Yeah, I get them confused.
I don't know.
Sometimes.
Well,
I don't
this
know
is
why.
the thing.
They're both the same way, though.
I don't know why they invite Democrats. She's not a Republican.
No.
Okay, the CPAC is for Republicans. Not only is she not a Republican, she's not even a conservative.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, she's not a conservative. And Nikki Haley is another one. Nikki Haley spoke to an empty room.
Yeah, I get them. She did.
Now, but James O'Keefe was there. He brought out the Pfizer whistleblower, which she was, who's been harassed and threatened to court, intimidation going on with her from what they said. But Marjorie Taylor Greene, who is the most powerful person in Washington, and I say that because President Trump's not in Washington. He's in Palm Beach, right? Mar-a-Lago. But Marjorie Taylor Greene is President Trump's direct representative in Washington. She's more powerful than the Speaker of the House, okay? And she spoke, and what she spoke about is a very important thing. So let me play this. This is some of Marjorie Taylor Greene at CPAC.
Their target is not adults that, adults can choose what they want to do. This isn't about adults.
Right.
We're talking about people under the age of 18. Their target for their multi-billion-dollar industry are children. And everyone knows that when you're growing up, think about it. How many times did you say when you're a kid you wanted to be a fireman or a doctor or a police officer? You wanted to be something when you're an adult, but when you grew up, you became something else. My favorite thing to say that I did become when I was growing up is I wanted to be a mom. And thankfully, I am a mom. But the victims of this industry are kids. And these are kids who are confused about who they are. And they're confused about who they are because of what they're seeing on the internet, what they're seeing on social media. And they're also confused, many of them, because these victims of this billion-dollar industry that mutilates the genitals of children, many of these victims have diagnoses of autism, mental illness, they have depression, they have anxiety, they have psychosis. Many of them live in foster care, so they already have lived lives of abuse. And these victims come in thinking they're going to find happiness and they're going to find security in their identity because they think they can change their gender. These boys think they can become girls. These girls think they can become boys. But you want to know what's happening to them? They're given puberty blockers. They're fast-tracked, given puberty blockers that actually chemically castrates them, makes them sterile. They're given testosterone to girls as young as 11, 12, 13 years old, that within 4 to 5 years, some of them are having to have hysterectomies because of the damage it does inside of them. There are teenage girls having their breast cut off. That is a permanent damage to their body. They'll never be able to breastfeed their baby. And there are boys that are having their penises turned inside out. These are kids. So last Congress, I did something radical and extreme because remember, Marjorie Taylor Greene, she's so extreme. I introduced a bill called the Protect Children's Innocence Act. Protect Children's Innocence Act. And let me tell you my great news this morning, ladies and gentlemen. It couldn't pass last Congress because, like I said, Nancy Pelosi was the Speaker of the House, and she doesn't believe in gender at all. But we have a new Speaker in our Republican majority in the House of Representatives. And I'm going to be introducing my bill, the Protect Children's Innocence Act, that will make it a felony to perform anything to do with gender-affirming care on children.
Okay, now the left are having meltdowns over this.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, and Trump should add that to his platform, the MAGA platform, to make it a federal felony, a federal law, making it illegal to do any of these sex change operations and things on those under the age. It really should be under the age of 21.
What's sickening to me, there's this woman on the Housewives of Orange County, Heather Dubrow. Her husband is on that show, plastic surgery show. He's destroyed his face. He looks like a Dick Tracy character, Terry Dubrow. His brother was the singer of Quiet Riot. Anyway, her son, daughter, whatever, just came out as transgender, 13 or something years old. And there was a whole article on her celebrating it and praising it. The problem is these parents wear this like a badge of honor.
Yeah.
They brag about it. They put it on social media. And I've talked to my daughter about this. She's 24 in a couple weeks, and she agrees with us on this, that it's just they're too young. And I said to her, Emily, if you came to me at 12, 13 years old, and Emily was not really a tomboy, but I kind of was when I was little. But there are girls that are tomboys that do more boyish things, and there's boys that do girlish things, whatever. And I said to her, if you came to me when you were 12 or 11 and you said, Mommy, I think I'm a boy, and I would talk to her about it, okay, this and that. And then I would say, I would tell her, I told her, if you wanted to become a boy, I would say to you, when you're 21, you could do whatever the hell you want, but I'm not doing anything to you right now. You'd be too young. And she agreed with me. She said, they're too young. This is like Dr. Frankenstein here with these operations. And I remember I knew somebody who became a man who was a woman. This was in the 80s. It was the daughter of our dentist. And my dad owned a place in the Keys with him. So we knew this family pretty well. And his daughter went from Laura to Larry. And this was a long time ago. But when my cousin met him and said you could not tell at all. Like, he was a really handsome guy. But what happened is, my dad told me she had felt like she was a boy her whole life. Okay. So back then, she had the surgery, became a man, but she was in her 20s. She had to live as a man for a year. She had to go through intensive therapy. Intensive hoops had to be jumped for this surgery to be performed. It was not like going out and having your ears pierced. It was a big deal to do this. It is no longer a big deal. Now these parents think it's cool.
Well, it's like,
and they'll go and get their kids' boobs chopped off, or hysterectomies like it's nothing.
It's like a lot of doctors,
and then brag about it.
A lot of doctors open up these plastic surgery centers for breast implants.
Yeah,
and you just walk in the next day, get your breast implants. That's what sex change operations have become. It's
big money for these hospitals and doctors.
It should be against federal law to have any of that on children. Now, one last thing here. Governor DeSantis gave a speech at the Reagan Library in California. It just ended. It says here, DeSantis took aim at California Governor Gavin Newsom on his home turf. He says, I know you got a lot of problems out here, but your governor is very concerned about what we're doing in Florida, so I figured I'd come by. That's pretty fun.
That's pretty fun.
Okay, I know there's a lot of Republicans in California, and I appreciate a Republican going to California and letting them know that we want to free them from the tyranny of the left.
Yeah.
But to me, it seems very uneventful, this DeSantis trip to California. Maybe if it wasn't for CPAC and President Trump at CPAC, it would have been a big deal.
Why would he go now during CPAC? That seems strange.
The
Bad timing
seems stupid. It just does. And it just...
Why even go there?
It's uneventful. He should have done it at a time when not every Republican was speaking over the weekend that's in the news, and it just kind of...
I agree.
It kind of gets blended in. But
why didn't he go to CPAC? Why do you think?
Because he
mistake.
He knew that he would lose the straw poll by a landslide.
Maybe.
And if he went there and spoke and then lost, it would have looked bad on him. I think that's why he didn't go. He's afraid. He's coward to go about it.
He's distancing himself too much from Trump. Too much.
Well, he's distancing himself from Republicans.
Yeah, no,
Republican voters.
For him to go there, it's funny what he said, but now he's being like Gavin Newsom. I mean,
he's trolling Gavin Newsom.
He's doing what he attacked Gavin Newsom for doing.
What I think,
so that doesn't make
what
sense
I think
to me.
is happening here is I think the Republican and the Democrat establishment have worked out a deal, and they're trying to make it Newsom versus DeSantis, in the 2024 race. But I'll tell you,
it's never going to happen. Maybe 2028.
Here in Florida, people love DeSantis. You guys know that. But my feeling is, hearing from listeners that are Republican around America, outside of Florida, Republican voters are not happy with Ron DeSantis, mainly because the way he's behaving towards Trump. And, he's alienating the Republican base. But because he's such a powerhouse in Florida, everywhere he goes, people flip out. So I think he's out of touch with the pulse of the Republican voter, and he doesn't realize it.
Well, if he announces... Like I said earlier, if he announces he's going to run, I will question his judgment.
His sanity.
If he announces that, he has lost touch with the Republican voter, because anybody who's that far behind, 20 to 60%, and thinks they can win.
40% in the straw poll.
40% difference.
Trump beating by 40 points.
Yeah, he had 20%, Trump had 60%. If he thinks he can beat that, he's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
The smartest thing for him to do would be to wait. Like I said, come out. I'm not running. I support Trump. He's your man, and that's it. I'm going to finish being governor, and then decide what to do later. I mean, he's got plenty of time. And they had on The View, they have Trump's ex somebody, that Farrah chick. Mm-hmm. And she said if he ran, she said it would be the biggest mistake of his life. She said Trump will eat him alive.
Well, you could tell by the CPAC speech. He's a lightweight. Now, listen, we are all out of time, but just before we go, don't forget, in the description of the episode is our direct link. Mike Lindell gave us our own MyPillow website. I have it linked in the description on whatever platform you're listening to in the episode description. If you go there, if you go to that link, it has all of my favorites that I'm always talking about, and the specials that are offered there.
Yeah.
So go and use our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. Buying the MyPillow products is a great way, not just to support Mike Lindell, but support all the content that I bring, the podcast with Kathy, my YouTube channel, the radio show. It's a great way to support all of my efforts.
And I want to say with that, and another way to support the show is through Patreon.
Yes.
And the reason it's important, you don't have to do it to listen, when and we still love everybody that listens and appreciate all of you. But if you're able to, it's important. And I patronize people too. I'm a patron of some people because it's a lot of work doing a show like this, believe it or not. I mean, when we do a show like this, it probably takes about 2 to 3 hours to put together total. Brian and I research, we're always looking at articles and researching things, and then we have to record it. Brian has to edit it, upload it to all the platforms. We put it on YouTube. Then we go and listen to it again during the chat, which is another hour. We don't mind, but it is a lot of work. It's a labor of love.
It's a 3 to 4 hour process, the podcast.
Right, but we don't draw a salary from this. We don't, nobody's paying us to do this. So the patrons are so important. And the people that buy the MyPillows are important too, and people that watch YouTube, because all of that shows that you do support us and you appreciate the time we put into it. But like I said, you don't have to. We love everybody who listens, but when you do, it really does mean a lot. It's really special, And it really does mean a lot when people do that. You know, we get excited when we get a new Patreon too. It's a lot of fun.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Well, we are all out of time, but we will talk to you next time.
Do you love shopping online? Of course you do. But have you shopped at Tush Store? If not, you're missing out on amazing deals and products. At Tush Store, they have everything you're looking for when it comes to fitness equipment, pet accessories, and tech gadgets. Whether you're looking to get in shape, spoil your furry family member, or upgrade your tech game, they have you covered. For all you pet lovers out there, Tush Store has a fantastic selection of pet accessories that will keep your furry friends happy and healthy, as well as an incredible selection of fitness equipment that's going to keep you in the best shape. If you're a tech enthusiast, you don't want to miss out on the range of cutting-edge gadgets. They have the latest and greatest tech products that'll help you stay connected and entertained. So why wait? Head to Tush Store right now at tushstore-2023.myshopify.com and start shopping for all your fitness, pet, and tech needs. They have competitive pricing, fast shipping, and excellent customer service. You won't be disappointed. tushstore-2023.myshopify.com.